Hey, this is Doc Yates. I'm a naturopathic doctor, registered acupuncturist, and a kinesiologist, owner of the Yates Naturopathic Clinic, and the founder of the interactive health website, Able Health. And this is the Simply Health Podcast, a show for females where I work to simplify and demystify the secrets of achieving optimal health naturally, based on my own experience in working with thousands of female patients over the past 15 years of my clinical practice. Welcome to Simply Health. Hey, this is Doc Yates, and welcome to the Simply Health Podcast. Thanks for joining me on the drive today, and this is brought to you by, of course, Able Health. And today on the podcast, we are talking about estrogen and your heart health. And again, this podcast is predominantly dedicated to perimenopausal and menopausal females. And in this case, we want to talk about how your estrogen levels can affect your heart health. So there was an article I was reading recently by a cardiologist, and his concern was that the women's health study that got everyone to stop taking the use of hormone replacement therapy. Keep in mind, we're not talking about bioidentical hormones, just the old style standard hormone replacement therapy. His thought was that if there was any deaths that they saved from cancer, they've increased that many times and more from heart disease from making that change. And he feels that it's a huge problem, and even in worst case scenario, if they went back to that style of hormone replacement therapy, that would be better than stopping everything completely. So in terms of what are the benefits of estrogen in terms of your heart health, and I'll go through those today. We're going to talk about 5 points. I would say we're going to go through them in low importance in terms of high importance, at least in my opinion. This is my opinion. So number 1, estrogen has been shown to increase your HDL, which is considered your good cholesterol, and reduce your LDL, which is your bad cholesterol. So estrogen will work towards correcting these. And this isn't something that I have definitely seen in practice. Females, when they're in perimenopause and menopause, all of a sudden when you're doing their lipid panels and testing their blood for their cholesterol, this is when you see the change. You see a big shift in your cholesterol level. Some people will say it's because the hormones can have this direct effect, and also keep in mind that hormones are derived from cholesterol. So when you start seeing a reduction in your hormone production, the building blocks cholesterol can sometimes build up, has been another theory put forward. But either way, estrogen, by taking estrogen, has shown these effects. So taking bioidentical estrogen, or even just estrogen in general, has been shown to have these beneficial effects. This is, for me, in terms of benefit, it's kind of a meh. There's not a lot of correlation directly with this whole good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, and then overall outcomes. And anything, even drugs that modify this dramatically, don't necessarily have that great of an outcome. So take it for what it is. You can see that as a positive. Point number 2, estrogen has been shown to relax arteries and dilate them. That means it's increasing blood flow to the heart itself and to the rest of your body. I take that as a pretty positive point. A lot of times, especially if heart disease is related with stress, it's causing that tension. And that tension is causing your arteries to contract and squeeze, and it's reducing the amount of blood flow that you're getting to your body and to your heart. That is a problem and can lead to, there's different types of angina, different types of heart disease that are completely related to the tension in these vessels. So taking estrogen can improve that tension and relax those arteries. Number 3, even more important, estrogen can protect the lining. So the lining of your arteries and of your heart, this is called an endothelial lining. It's like this smooth layer, and by keeping it nice and smooth, everything's flowing through, protected. And when it's smooth and there's no damage, there's less deposits. So calcification and deposits in the lining is something that can lead to blockages of your blood flow. This can lead to heart attacks, to strokes, to other circulatory problems. Estrogen helps protect that lining. To me, that is getting much more important. Estrogen can also reduce inflammation. This is a systemic effect. So reducing inflammation to your arteries, to your veins, to the rest of your body. Another reason, very common, that you'll see people when they're going into menopause and their estrogen levels start to decrease, joint pain, stiffness, All of these things because you're getting a reduction in estrogen and therefore an increase in inflammation. So let's look at all of these points together and how it all ties into one. So by reducing inflammation, it's reducing the amount of irritation that's happening to the lining itself. And by reducing that irritation in the lining, when cholesterol comes to kind of repair and patch that lining, because that's one of the jobs of cholesterol, is to help. It's like, think of it as like mortar or patchwork within your arteries. When things get damaged, irritated, the cholesterol is sent there to help patch it. The less inflammation, the better the lining. The better the lining, the less cholesterol deposits. So it all can tie back towards the inflammatory aspect of things, which is why working with hormones for inflammation, working with diet for inflammation, and all of those things for inflammation is a huge part of it. And then number 5, the thing that actually matters, because none of these other markers actually mean anything unless, number 5, it reduces death. Now, obviously there's a 100% risk of death for everyone. We're all going to die. But it reduces early death related with cardiovascular disease. And that's really what it all comes down to. Like, no matter what we are measuring, if it's cholesterol medications, is it other heart medications, is it what are the effects of the Mediterranean diet on your heart health? It doesn't really matter. They like to cite these things. Oh, it had this effect on LDL, or this 2% change in XYZ. None of that really matters. What we want to know, what does it actually do to cardiovascular events and death? So does it reduce heart attacks? Does it reduce strokes? Does it reduce premature death from cardiovascular disease? And the answer for estrogen is yes. So tying this back towards the women's health study that got everyone to stop using hormone replacement therapy, there's a lot of things now that we know now about hormones that they didn't know then that even further reduces the risk. Basically, in some cases, it's been shown to even prevent cancers if you're doing this properly. So, 1, take estrogen topically, not orally. So if you use estrogen topically, it bypasses the liver effect, and it doesn't put so much strain on that. And it's been shown to have less breakdown metabolites, and you don't need the same dosing. So always use estrogen topically. Progesterone you can use either way, but preferably if you use everything topically. Number 2, use natural estrogen as opposed to horse estrogens. So if you can use bioidentical hormones, they're made so that they're identical to human hormones made from yams, as opposed to taking a horse estrogen, that is better. Number 3, use low dose. A lot of the times in those women's health study, when they looked at people's doses, they were putting people up mega doses, as if you're taking menopausal females as if they were like 21 and pregnant. They were just jacking their doses up. You do not need to use mega dose. You just need to use low dose, just so you get back into a bit of A range as opposed to 0. And point 4, add progesterone. Whenever you're taking estrogen, make sure you're taking progesterone with that, either topically progesterone or oral progesterone, and always topical estrogen. So I hope this was helpful. These are things to show the benefits of estrogen in your heart health and how the benefits can way outweigh the risks. So I hope this was helpful. This is Doc Yates signing off. Thanks for tuning in to Simply Health. If you want to learn more about health, check out Able Health. If you want to see some of the other projects that I've been working on in health, business, music, and life, please check out the links below.